As defined by Wikipedia, a theme park dark ride is an indoor amusement ride on which passengers aboard guided vehicles travel through specially lit scenes that typically contain animation, sound, music, and special effects.
In 1901, Luna Park opened the legendary Trip to the Moon. It was not only the first dark ride, but the first space ride as well. It set the standard for the medium, introducing many typical motion elements that would be seen on dark rides in the future.
In 1928, the Pretzel Amusement Company patented the first single-rail electric vehicle track. It's used on many Disneyland rides to this day. The first well-known use of the technology was the 1939 New York World's Fair for an attraction called Futurama. It took guests far above a model of the cities of the future. This ride style is very familiar to Disney park fans with its detailed model work.
The technology is also used for countless haunted house-style rides, which were often called ghost trains. These popped up all over the world during the early 20th century at beach boardwalks and amusement parks. In 1955, Disneyland opened 2 dark rides with the single-track technology.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride relies heavily on 2-dimensional painted scenery for most of its effects. Hinged panels constantly pop out at you as you run by them in your motor car, though it does have some fun 3-dimensional scenery sections, notably the scaffolding and the Inferno Room.
It also has lots of classic features like the headlights effect. Lots of rides feature this moment where you're plunged into darkness only to have headlights turn on, coming right at you with a loud horn as you pass beneath.
Snow White's Adventures, which has now become Snow White's Enchanted Wish, took things a step further, focusing on more 3-dimensional characters and telling a more cohesive story. Both of these rides were refurbished in 1983, and at that time they added a lot of fluorescent blacklight effects. And fluorescent blacklight painting has become one of the most important aspects of Disneyland dark rides.
Blacklight fluorescents contain colors which really makes them glow, and the talented Disney artists are able to convey not only complex scenery, but lighting effects too with their impressive painting skills.
The electric single-track style is also used for Alice in Wonderland's attraction, which is notable for spanning 2 different floors. It adds elevation into the equation, and it also has an outdoor section. Alice in Wonderland has been updated recently, just like Snow White, and it's added in another element to the rides that came into the parks in force in the first decade of the 21st century: projection mapping.
We think that Alice in Wonderland is a good example of plussing a classic ride with impressive projected effects while still capturing the magic of the original. It is a really great ride.
In 1983, Pinocchio's Daring Journey joined the fleet of single-rail electric dark rides, completed in a similar style to the rest of the Courtyard companions. And in 1993, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin opened with a variation of this same track style.
The Imagineers described it as taking a teacup from the Mad Tea Party and putting it on a traditional vehicle. In fact, they actually tested that exact thing, putting a teacup on a modified vehicle for Pinocchio's Daring Journey. And it adds a fun layer to the ride.
In 1999, over in Critter Country, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh opened with this type of vehicle. And though it's a bit bumpy, it's a really lovely ride. And Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue is the only DCA ride to use this technology, but it does it very well.
We noticed that Disney keeps the level of technology you find in the ride fairly equal to how advanced your ride vehicle is. These 7 single electric track rides don't have the A1 animatronics or fastest effects. They tend to be more fantastic and stylized and rely on painting more, but they are charming, clever, and story-driven.
Disneyland sure came up with something special when they hired the Cleveland Tram Rail Company to build the track for a hanging ship ride meant to simulate flight. Peter Pan's flight has long lines for a reason. Though it boasts older technology, its use of scale and miniature combined with Disney's story and a flying galleon make for park magic.
The rail company had never built a theme park ride, nor has since. They build cranes today. Peter Pan's format has been one of a kind at Disney parks, though it was intended to be used for Ariel's undersea adventures for some time. The format has been used in other parks with great success, with Dream Flight at Efteling coming to mind.
The 1964 World's Fair had an early Omni mover system that didn't make it to Disneyland that actually used cars as a ride vehicle. But it also brought about another dark ride vehicle that did make it to the park, the canal boat. This is something that had been around since the 19th century in a couple of formats, both as a log flume and as a slow-moving boat ride in the dark. It was often called the Old Mill Ride or the Tunnel of Love. At the 1964 World's Fair, It's a Small World used narrow flumes, water, and gravity to move boats full of guests through the attraction. And it proved to Disney that a dark ride format could be a high-capacity attraction with massive amounts of people able to enjoy it in a single day.
It's a Small World, designed by Imagineer Mary Blair and others, is a dark ride on a grand grand scale. It's big, bright, and fun, using style and charm along with thousands of small animatronics to create its impressive spectacle. This ride is also notable for a step forward in attraction sound design, which was one of the first to have a synchronized soundtrack that blended together seamlessly as you travel through it.
Disney got better at making water rides. Pirates of the Caribbean is an icon of Disneyland and one of the jewels in its impressive crown. The 15-minute-long dark ride has some of the most immersive sets of any Disney attraction ever, and it took the dark ride concept to a new thrilling place, a more ambitious place than anyone thought possible. Pirates is amazing, and everyone should experience the Disneyland version at least once.
Pirates' 2 drops that take you 30 feet under New Orleans Square were not enough, so Disney built Splash Mountain with its 40-mile-per-hour drop to speed things up. This ride has an outdoor portion but spends most of its time inside, which is full of classic animatronics. We sure hope the new Princess and the Frog version maintains that ride style.
Of course, in many ways, the ultimate water dark ride is the Submarine Voyage, now Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage. Walt opened this ride originally in 1959, and its concept is brilliant. The track submarines are not ever fully submerged, but it sure feels like they are as they go through the flooded tunnels under Autopia.
We have to imagine adding in projection mapping technology for Finding Nemo was difficult, but it was done well and it's very impressive. Disney has used the ride system at other parks, and the modernized version of the submarine ride at Tokyo Disney Sea is pretty darn impressive.
Disney patented its own dark ride vehicle, the Omni Mover, which was invented by Disney legend Bob Gurr. This technology allowed for a high number of ride vehicles that wouldn't run into each other because they're all attached to the same treadmill-like track, and it allowed the Imagineers to control the view of the guests by turning them as they desired and blocking off what they didn't want them to see with large clamshell-like backs.
It also incorporated onboard speaker systems, which allowed each rider to enjoy a personalized soundtrack as they experienced the attraction. The ride system also did for the tracked dark ride what Small World did for the log flume. It added capacity. In fact, it's designed to not have to stop, allowing boarding while the ride is in motion.
The first time this was used at Disneyland was in 1967 with Adventures Through Inner Space, which took you through a mighty microscope to check out the inner workings of an atom. The vehicle was a huge part of the appeal of the attraction, and a few years later, the Omni Mover vehicle became the Doom Buggies of the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion is another iconic attraction that really separates itself beyond its brilliant music and animatronics is its use of stage magic effects. As many magical tricks as could be thought of were used to tell the macabre story of the Haunted Mansion and its inhabitants, including some of the best and largest Pepper's Ghost effects ever constructed.
The Omni Mover system is also used for Ariel's Undersea Adventures, which was added in 2012 in Disney's California Adventure, a good fit for the clamshell-like cars. Something that you see in both the Haunted Mansion and Ariel's Undersea Adventures with the Omni Mover that you saw with the water ride is the use of more sophisticated animatronics and effects on the ride with this more sophisticated ride system.
Animatronic figures like Ursula, as well as the Hatbox Ghost and Constance Hatchaway, are more impressive and expressive animatronics, and the rides have more immersive and realistic environments that seem to be more in fitting with the more advanced ride vehicle systems.
And there is one other Omni Mover ride system in the park, but it falls into another category, the interactive dark ride. Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters takes the Omni Mover system and adds in the ability to control the spin of your vehicle yourself while giving you a space blaster and three-dimensional targets to hit. It's fun racking up points, and the animatronic figures are dazzling.
The other interactive ride in the park, already open anyhow, is Toy Story Midway Mania, which uses a single electric track, taking guests around a number of video screens to play the different games. The two rides offer very different experiences. The three-dimensional aspect of Buzz seem more genuine somehow, but the screens of Toy Story do have the potential of flexibility.
Disney will be getting a third interactive dark ride with the addition of Web Slingers the Spider-Man attraction opening with Avengers Campus. This family-friendly, augmented reality ride looks like a lot of fun, and instead of simply racking up points, the story's going to be a little more integrated with the action of the ride.
Disneyland also has some sophisticated versions of the electric single-center attract dark ride that is usually referred to as a slot car design. In 1994, with the Indiana Jones Adventure, Disneyland introduced the EMV, or Enhanced Motion Vehicle, that buried the center rail in the floor. The EMV adds vertical and lateral motion to your ride vehicle and makes for a very exciting ride. It really takes the concept to such an accelerated level that it becomes a thrill ride.
And the Indiana Jones Adventure achieves this. It is easily one of the most impressive and exciting rides in the park. It is accurately described as spectacular. It's an expansive ride, it's huge, and it's full of amazing effects and animatronics, yet it still uses a lot of classic dark ride effects like blacklight painting, scrims, blown air, that sort of thing.
Another evolution of this ride system is found in Cars Land at DCA. Radiator Springs Racers also has a center slot that attaches to the cars. The cars are functional too in their way, as they have real tires that are actually making contact with a real road. And the dark ride portions of the ride are brilliantly done using extremely advanced car animatronics that have small format internal projectors for the eyes.
Both ride systems are amazing and they exhibit lots of breakthroughs. Both systems are aware of where all the ride vehicles are at any time, and they generate individual randomized ride experiences so the attraction is a little different each time you ride it. They keep the vehicles safe distances from each other, and they switch up who wins the race around Willie's Butte.
When Luigi's Flying Tires got slated for replacement, it provided a new opportunity for Disneyland to try out something new, the Trackless vehicle. This is something that had been around for a while, but most versions at the time had vehicles that followed a wire that was buried in concrete. But Disney developed robust tech that used Wi-Fi and RFID-based local positioning systems.
Disney opened Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters in the same spot, with each trackless vehicle costing about $500,000 each. But it would take Galaxy's Edge for trackless vehicle technology to be used on a dark ride at Disneyland.
Rise of the Resistance is an absolutely incredible attraction that uses trackless vehicles as one of the many different ride systems that create its experience. At this point, gone are any blacklight painting effects and hinged flats, and in their place are perfectly detailed realistic sets, three-dimensional projection mapping, and when you look out a window, it looks like you're in space. Like, really?
The trackless vehicles feel completely untethered from anything resembling a theme park, and they perfectly serve the story and immerse you in it as you escape the First Order Star Destroyer roaming around the ship, hopping into an escape pod, and even riding outside where you get dropped off. The ride is a huge achievement in what a theme park ride can be, and the ride vehicles certainly are a big part of that. In the story, they're piloted by droids, so in a lot of ways, your vehicle feels like it's intelligent, like it's a thinking part of the ride.
And this style of vehicle will be used for the upcoming Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which has guests in different cars of a train that then gets mixed up during the ride. This attraction has the most effective use of projection mapping that we've seen so far. You really step into the cartoon.
And perhaps the most thrilling dark rides at Disney parks use roller coasters as the ride vehicles. All of the coasters, and even the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, have some dark ride elements to them. Big Thunder has the caves and the exploding dynamite. The Matterhorn has Harold. The Incredicoaster shows the Parr family trying to deal with Jack Jack's new powers. And Space Mountain, well, it has a cool animated launch and lots of stars.
These rides are moving fast, so they tend to show you a short scene before running you through up and down some hills. But new coasters like Tron Light Cycle Run and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind are increasing the amount of show scenes that a roller coaster can have.
Well, right now, Disneyland has 25 different dark rides and attractions, all of which transport you into a fun, thrilling story that you love. And to us, they're really the jewels of the Disneyland crown, the bells of the ball, and one of our favorite things about Disneyland.
We hope you've enjoyed this look back at the evolution of the dark rides of Disneyland as much as we have.
See you real soon, Mouseketeers.
See you real soon.